Yes, you read it right. Now you can develop Cardano smart contracts using Python. This is super bullish for Cardano, in my opinion, because the barrier to entry to new developers is so much smaller. Uh, Not only that, but the pool of developers that are now able to build in Cardano is much larger, meaning that you'll be able to build so much more in Cardano, and that is likely to see many more dApps coming. Cardano is a blockchain that uses Plutus, that is a smart contract language based in Haskell. And Haskell is a super niche language. There are few developers, and it's kind of a hard to learn language. And it was chosen by Cardano because it's safer overall, a more reliable language. But at the end of the day, that safety comes at the expense of being harder to find the developers with the right skill set to build on Cardano. And that's a struggle that many projects in Cardano have faced so far. But even with this, I think it's important to mention that Cardano is still one of the blockchains that has the largest number of active developers right now, and that also has the largest number of commits to GitHubs. So just imagine just imagine how many more commits and developers can come to Cardano now that it is possible to write Cardano smart contracts with Python. you know because Python is just one of the most mainstream and largely adopted programming languages of our times. So if you're a person that believes in the motto build it and they will come, Cardano has just become a so much more attractive blockchain to you because the potential for building on Cardano is now much larger. Yeah, so now we can write our smart contracts in Python. Super interesting and opens a lot of possibilities for Cardano. But first, I think it's important to dive a bit deeper into Cardano blockchain, and the current development that is being done in Cardano blockchain. Cardano blockchain is one of the chains that has the most developers, the most active developers at least, and the most active GitHub commits as well. So, in fact, it's not something I say out of nowhere. It's something you can see in Sentiment, a crypto analysis company. Sentiment has created a report about the top 10 blockchains in terms of dev activity, developer activity. And we can see here the top with ADA and number one in 2022. And then we have Dot, Atom, ETH, Internet Computer, and the list goes. So those are the chains that are building the most, in fact. And you can see here as well the performance in Sentiment app. You can see the performance over time of ADA and the other cryptocurrencies in terms of developer activity. Okay, and here in red we can see ADA's performance, development activity, ADA, and we can see that it's been consistently at the top across time. Okay, sometimes it's third, sometimes it's second, sometimes it's first, but it's been consistently at the top of all the blockchains throughout 2022. Okay, what is this development activity, you probably ask? Well, this development activity metric, as you can see in the Sentiment Academy, is about the work that's being done by the developers, the things they are putting into their GitHub. And it's a good measure because, as they say here, developer times is an expensive resource, especially in crypto. And high development implies that the project is serious about the business proposition they have. It also implies they want to actually build what they are saying. They will probably build new features and launch them. So they'll keep having updates and improvements, and that's good for a project. And of course, it's less likely to be a scam when the people are actually spending time and effort to build. Okay, so it's a very interesting metric to see actually what projects can do, because at the end of the day, the more work you put into a product, the better it will be, the more features it will have, and usually the more attractive it will be for end users. So in my opinion, as an investor, it's a very important metric. But of course, nothing in this video is financial advice, just educational content. Never forget that, okay, guys? But yeah, and I think it's also very it's a metric you can trust, because here sentiment, they don't just look at commits. They also try to see the quality of the commits and if it's copied code or original things, and they just try to count original code. So I think that tells a lot about these kind of commits that have been evaluated here. And it's also very interesting to see these kind of metrics in Ada, because Ada is not at all a project that is easy to work with, because the main language to work with Ada is Haskell. You have Plutus Smart Contracts, but they are mostly based in Haskell. And Haskell is not a language that is that common. It's a very niche language that is used more for financial tech companies and financial tech products, because it's a safer language. They have type security and all those things. Um, so it's a very good choice when dealing with important things like money and all that kind of and transferring value between parties where we don't want anything wrong to happen, and no kind of exploits to happen like sometimes they do in Ethereum. But the trade-off is that it's not as easy to find developers because it's very niche, and it's not an easy language to learn because it's very different from the mainstream languages. Okay, the mainstream languages we have like Python, Java are imperative programming languages, and Haskell is a functional programming language where the line of thought, how you program, is completely different, and it's hard for imperative language programmers, so Python programmers or JavaScript programmers, to get around the kind of thinking you need to have when you're programming in Haskell that is completely different. So that's something very important to consider. But yeah, so we have to admit that at the end of the day, Haskell is very good, very safe. You can have all these kind of advantages, which are very positive in my opinion for a blockchain where I don't want my value to be lost or stolen in any way possible. But it's naturally harder to get developers to build things into Cardano. And sometimes, as I've mentioned in the intro, some of the projects have problems finding the developers with the right skill set to actually build the ideas. So that's something to consider. And that's why the Cardano community has been working so hard in terms of smart contracts, okay? And in fact, of creating new languages to write the smart contracts. And for example, one of the languages that is being developed is Ilias. And Ilias is a language that is mostly based in TypeScript, but that allows you to write Cardano smart contracts with TypeScript, okay? Very interesting to see. And if you want, I can leave a link in the description for you to take a look at Ilias. There's certainly a project that is worth it, okay? But besides that, of course, we have this situation with the Cardano, with the Cardano Smart Contract written in Python, okay? Because Python is even more amazing news, because Python is such a widely adopted language, as we can see here, for example, in this article, 80% of the developers have Python as the main coding language, and it's regarded here by these Geeks for Geeks website as a language for the future of programming, especially because it can be used in artificial intelligence, machine learning. There are areas that are being increasingly developed and invested on. Okay, so yeah, we just had the first Cardano Smart Contract written in Python. Okay, it was compiled and deployed on pre-prod testnet. Okay, and you can see here how it looks like. Very simple, very easy to write, but this is also a simply smart contract. But as someone who's been studying Haskell and Plutus, this is certainly looks much simpler and cleaner. So certainly will decrease the barrier to entry into to programming in Cardano for sure. And here the team deploying this smart contract, Imperator Lang team, okay, we can also check here the news article about that, okay, where they show here the smart contract that was launched. They use this written this contract using Eopsin, okay, that is a Pythonic programming language. So it's basically a programming language that is fully based in Python, but that is able to write smart contracts in Cardano and to be understood by the Cardano compiler. So it has all the characteristics of Haskell as the main language in terms of security, but you're able to written it in Python and compile it through the compiler to get your smart contract to work in the blockchain. So you kind of get, it's very nice and very important because you kind of get the benefits from both communities. You get the benefits from working with Haskell, that is the security and all the things that are behind it, and the benefits from working with Python, that is the simplicity. It's much easier to learn, and of course you have also some tools here that are valid for Python, like the syntax highlighting, debugging, unit testing, verification, that you can also use while you're doing your code. Okay, but one thing they also want here, as they state in this article, is that this team, the Imperator Lang, wants to integrate with PyCardano, okay, a lightweight Cardano library in Python. What is PyCardano exactly? Basically, PyCardano is a library that allows you, basically a client that allows you to write in Python and create transactions for the Cardano blockchain. Okay, so you have usually you have Cardano CLI to create the transactions in the Cardano blockchain, and you can write there the native Cardano code to create those native transactions. But with PyCardano, you can do it with Python. Simply, you can mint an NFT using Python, and this is what PyCardano has allowed, just using the native scripting tools that are available, and combining these with the Eopsin, that is for smart contracts. Okay, uh, basically you can do anything you want in Cardano just using Python. Okay, and I think that's extremely exciting for the development of Cardano, because yeah, it makes it so much easier to find developers and build stuff. It's just a matter of understanding how the UTXO model works, and then yeah, you can do everything you want with the Cardano blockchain, and I think that's very, very positive. In fact, one thing that's also important to consider with this Eopsin, as I've told you before, is that it is in fact uh, it seems to be cheaper right now than Cardano, than Plutus or anything. Here, as they have in this article from you today, I'll also leave the link in the description. The contracts tested were cheaper and faster than pure Plutus code, about like 10 times faster. But of course, right now in Cardano, you have more ways to write code than just pure Plutus. You have Plutus V2, that is a new and more optimized version, and now you also have Plutarch, that was developed by MLags, and that is super optimized and even better than 10 times faster than pure Plutus code, but not as simple for sure. It's a harder language even than just Haskell. So yeah, something that won't be easy for most people to use for sure. So having this Python is good because it's faster and it's easier to use. So I think a very positive development. Okay, and if you want to learn more about Eopsin, you have here an article about it. Okay, so explaining a little bit of what I've said right now, that is, what is the Eopsin? Is basically just a library that allows you to write smart contracts on Cardano with Python only. Okay, and yeah, and basically here you have the advantages. There are the tools that are available. It's a faster code, runs faster, and it's faster to write as well. So a lot of benefits from doing this. And here you can have, I'll leave the article in the description, because you have here the links to the repository, okay, with the Eopsin, and where you can learn how to use it. You can actually go there, and if you're a developer on Python, you can go there and code it yourself and test it out and see if you can do a smart contract in Cardano. I think that would be certainly a very interesting activity for you to engage on, right? But why are these news so incredibly great for the ADA development, the Cardano development? It's because basically Python, as I mentioned previously, is a language that 80% of the developers understand and know how to use. So it just became so much more accessible to write your smart contracts in Ada, in Cardano with Python, and it's a language that is very easy to learn. And a lot of people, when they start programming, they go learn Python. And from that moment onwards, they don't really need to learn any other language to actually be able to create their own smart contracts, their own dApps in Cardano. They just need to have an idea and to research a little bit for more about the UTXO model. But that's pretty easy to do compared to learning what are functional languages and then going to learn Haskell. And then also learn the UTXO model, so you can actually code with code a smart contract in Cardano. So basically, the barriers to entry are much smaller. You have a larger pool of developers, and the possibilities of building are much larger. And this is good because building will be faster, easier, cheaper, and there will be more projects coming into Cardano thanks to that. Um, and this will, I think, will drive further adoption to the blockchain, because the more features a blockchain have, the more utility, the more contracts, the more everything, the more attractive it becomes for its users. And I do believe in, if you build a good product, they will come. And I do think this increases a lot the chances of Ada building a great product, and maybe even get further away from the competition, and really highlight itself after this. Okay. But what about you? What do you think? Do you agree? Do you think this is exciting? Did you understood the purpose of this video, or not really? Just drop your opinion in the comments. I'd love to hear about you. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more videos to come. I'd love to have you here in this decentralized nation where the focus is on learning more about crypto, keeping updated with what is happening, and of course, try to make the best of this bear market so that we can come out better and come out on the top, if possible, in the next bull market. So thank you, and see you in the next video.